Got it. Here's section 1. Hook/opening incident written in simple, clear English, about 500 words, inside your 400 to 600 range. Section 1. Hook/opening incident. Maya pulled her old car into the driveway, tired after work. She had not planned to stop by her parents' house, but something told her to check in. The curtains were open, and she could see the faint glow of the kitchen lights. She stepped out, smoothed her jacket, and walked up the path. As she reached the porch, voices hit her, sharp, angry voices. Her heart stopped. Lazy girl. You sit around all day and can't even wash a few dishes. It was her mother, Linda. Maya froze. She knew that tone, that exact cutting voice. She had heard it every day growing up. Then came her father's voice, deeper but just as harsh. Ungrateful. You eat here, don't you? Then you do your part. Your mother is right. And then another voice. Softer. Smaller. Trembling. Ava. I'm sorry, Grandma. I was going to do them. I was tired from school. Maya's stomach turned. Her 12-year-old daughter was in there, being scolded the same way she had been at that age. Don't talk back, Linda snapped. Excuses, excuses. Just like your mother. Maya's breath caught in her throat. She couldn't listen another second. She pushed the door open, the old hinges creaking as it slammed against the wall. Enough, she shouted. The kitchen fell silent. Her parents stood by the sink, hands on their hips, glaring at Ava. Her daughter stood small and hunched, clutching a dish towel, her eyes red from holding back tears. Linda's face tightened. Maya, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? Maya's voice shook with fury. I came to see my daughter, and I find you yelling at her? Calling her lazy? Calling her ungrateful? She needs discipline, Linda shot back. You never taught her respect. Someone has to. Maya stepped in front of Ava, shielding her. You will not speak to her that way. She is a child. My child. And she deserves better than this. Her father, Charles, lifted his hands as if to calm things. Maya, don't make this into a scene. She needs to learn responsibility. No, Maya said, her voice sharp. She needs love. She needs patience. She doesn't need to grow up with the same words you used to tear me down. Linda scoffed. Oh, stop playing the victim. You always twist things. We gave you everything, and this is how you repay us, by raising a spoiled girl. Maya's chest burned. The room felt smaller, like the walls were pressing in. She could feel her daughter trembling behind her. And then she heard it, the softest whisper, broken and shaky, almost lost under the silence. Mom, Ava said, tugging on her sleeve. Her eyes were wide, wet with tears. Can we please go home? Maya looked down at her, her heart aching. In that moment, she knew. This was only the beginning. When Maya drove Ava home that night, the echo of her mother's voice stayed in her head. It was like time had folded in on itself, dragging her back to when she was 12, standing in the same kitchen, with the same words cutting her down. You're lazy. You'll never amount to anything. Those were the words Linda always used. Maya remembered standing at the sink, her small hands too tired to scrub another plate after school. Her father never defended her. He would sit at the table with his newspaper, silent. Sometimes he would sigh, but he never spoke up. Silence was his only shield. For Maya, that silence was almost worse than the shouting. It meant she was alone. Now, years later, she saw the same fear in her daughter's eyes. Ava had tried to hold herself straight in that kitchen, tried not to cry. That was the same strength Maya had forced herself to carry as a girl. But deep down, Maya knew how much it hurt to always feel not enough. She didn't want that pain for her daughter. Life had not been easy since Maya left her parents' house. She had Ava when she was young, and when Ava's father left, everything fell on her shoulders. She worked long hours at a local diner, coming home exhausted, her feet aching from standing all day. The bills were always tight. She drove an old car that coughed every time she turned the key. Some nights, she skipped dinner so Ava could eat more. Still, when she looked at her daughter, Maya felt proud. Ava was bright, thoughtful, and kind. She read books late into the night and helped her mom without being asked. But there was a quietness about her too, a careful way she moved through the world. Maya worried it was the same carefulness she had learned as a child, always walking on eggshells, afraid to upset anyone. That fear haunted Maya. She didn't want to repeat her parents' mistakes. Every time she raised her voice, even a little, she saw the flinch in Ava's shoulders and hated herself for it. She wanted Ava to know love, safety, and trust. But sometimes Maya felt the past tightening its grip, like a chain she couldn't break. Daniel, her younger brother, never seemed to carry that chain. Growing up, he was the golden child. Linda adored him. He could forget his chores, skip homework, even talk back, and their mother would laugh it off. Boys will be boys, she'd say. If Maya made the same mistakes, she was punished. Daniel learned quickly that he could do no wrong. He grew confident, smooth with his words, always knowing how to charm people. As adults, nothing changed. Daniel still leaned on their parents for money, still got away with things Maya never could. When Maya struggled to pay rent, Linda told her she should learn responsibility. But when Daniel asked for help, Linda wrote a check without hesitation. That double standard cut deep, but Maya had learned to stay quiet. Every fight only made Linda colder. Every protest ended with Charles telling her to let it go. So she swallowed her anger, the way she always had. But tonight was different. Tonight it was Eva, and Maya couldn't swallow it anymore. As she tucked her daughter into bed, she brushed a strand of hair from her face. "I'm sorry, baby," she whispered. Eva shook her head. "It's not your fault, Mom." Maya smiled weakly, but her heart ached. She wanted to believe Ava's words, but she knew the truth. The cycle was still alive, and if she didn't stop it, her daughter would carry the same scars she had carried her whole life. Lying awake later, Maya stared at the ceiling. The old anger bubbled inside her chest, but underneath it was something stronger, resolve. She couldn't change who her parents were, but she could change the story for Ava. She could fight for her daughter in ways no one had ever fought for her. The thought both scared her and gave her strength. She didn't just want to protect Ava from her parents' harshness. She wanted to break the cycle that had poisoned her family for generations. This was more than just one argument in the kitchen. This was the beginning of something bigger, something she had avoided for years. For the first time in a long time, Maya knew she couldn't stay silent anymore. The next few days were heavy with silence. Maya tried to pretend everything was normal, but Ava's eyes told a different story. She had grown quieter, retreating into her room with her books, answering questions with short nods instead of words. One night, as Maya folded laundry on the couch, she realized Ava wasn't in her room. The house was too quiet. Panic struck, and she checked outside. Her daughter wasn't in the yard. Maya's chest tightened. She grabbed her keys and drove straight to her parents' house. Sure enough, there was Ava's backpack on the porch. When Maya stepped inside, the sight made her blood run cold. Ava was sitting at the kitchen table, drying dishes while her mother stood over her, barking instructions. "Don't just wipe, scrub. Look at the streaks. If you keep this up, you'll be just like your mother, lazy and careless." Maya's voice came out sharp. "What did you just say?" Both heads turned. Ava's eyes widened in guilt, while Linda crossed her arms unfazed. "She's helping around the house. Something you never learned to do properly." "Ava, go wait in the car," Maya said softly. Ava hesitated, her hands shaking as she put down the dishcloth. Maya gave her a firm nod, and finally she slipped out the door. When the door closed, Maya turned to her mother. "How long has she been coming here when I'm at work?" Linda raised her chin. "She knows where she's loved. If you weren't always gone, maybe she wouldn't. She is 12 years old. Maya's voice cracked. "You don't get to fill her head with the same poison you filled mine with. She doesn't need your cruel words. She doesn't need to hear that she'll end up a failure like me." Linda's expression didn't soften. If anything, it grew colder. "If you raised your daughter properly, we wouldn't have to." Maya stood frozen, the words slamming into her chest. It was the same blame, the same dismissal, the same twisting of reality she had heard all her life. Her father peeked in from the living room, his face lined with discomfort. "Maya, calm down," he muttered, eyes already sliding away. "No," Maya said, her voice shaking but firm. "I will not calm down. You will not do this to her. You will not break her the way you broke me." Linda scoffed. "Always dramatic. Always blaming us for your own mistakes." Something inside Maya snapped. She wasn't a scared child anymore. She was a mother, and her daughter's safety came first. She took a step closer, her voice low but sharp. "Listen carefully. Ava is my daughter, not yours. You don't get to call her names. You don't get to tear her down. This ends now." For the first time, Linda's eyes flickered with something like surprise, but it was gone in an instant, replaced by her usual mask of disapproval. "Fine," Linda said coldly. "Do what you want. But don't come crying to us when she turns out just like you." Maya's hands clenched at her sides. Every instinct told her to shout, to scream, to finally unload the years of hurt. But instead, she turned toward the door. When she reached the car, Ava sat curled in the passenger seat, hugging her knees. Her eyes searched Maya's face. "Am I like you?" she asked quietly. Maya's throat tightened. She cupped her daughter's cheek. "You are nothing like the cruel things they say. You are strong. You are kind. And I will never let them make you believe otherwise." Ava leaned into her hand, and Maya felt the weight of a decision pressing down. This wasn't just about keeping Ava away from her grandparent. This was about breaking the chain once and for all. As she drove away from the house, Maya made a silent promise. No more excuses. No more silence. She would fight for her daughter, no matter the cost. The days after that fight felt like walking through a storm. Maya tried to keep Ava away from her parents, but it wasn't easy. Ava missed them, even after everything. She would ask, "Can I just see Grandma for a little while?" Or, "Grandpa didn't say much, maybe he misses me." Each question broke Maya a little more. She didn't want to be the wall that kept her daughter from family, but she knew what that family could do to a child's heart. She knew because she still carried the scars. Maya started picking up extra shifts at the diner, hoping to cover bills faster and give them some breathing room. But the extra work meant Ava was often home alone. That made her nervous, because she knew her parents could swoop in at any time. And sometimes they did. One evening, Maya came home and found Ava sitting on the couch with a plate of cookies only Linda baked. "Where did you get those?" Maya asked, her voice sharper than she meant. Ava looked guilty. "Grandma stopped by. She said you worked too much, and she didn't want me to be lonely." Maya's stomach nodded. "Did you invite her in?" "She just came in," Ava whispered. "She said you wouldn't mind." Maya sat down beside her, trying to keep her voice steady. "Sweetheart, I know you love them. But sometimes love can hurt when it isn't healthy. Do you understand?" Ava frowned. "They're just trying to help. Grandma says you get upset too easily. She says you always think everyone is against you." The words stung. They weren't Ava's. They were Linda's, slipping out of her daughter's mouth. Later that week, Maya decided to confront her parents again. She drove over on a Saturday morning, Ava still asleep at home. Daniel's car was already in the driveway. That set her teeth on edge. He was the last person she wanted to see. Inside, she found her brother sitting at the table, drinking coffee, while their parents listened like an eager audience. He looked up with a smirk. "Maya, still causing trouble, I hear." Maya crossed her arms. "This isn't about me. It's about my daughter. You don't get to talk to her the way you talk to me." Daniel leaned back, his voice smooth and mocking. "You're so dramatic. Mom and Dad sacrificed everything for us, and you act like the victim. You don't appreciate what they gave you." "What they gave me?" Maya's voice cracked. "They gave me scars. They gave me nights of crying myself to sleep, believing I was worthless. And now they're trying to do the same to Ava." Linda cut in sharply. "That's enough. You twist everything. Ava is fine. You're the one filling her head with nonsense. Always unstable, always overreacting." Charles cleared his throat but said nothing, just like always. His silence filled the room like heavy fog. Maya turned on him. "Dad, do you have anything to say? Do you care at all what they're doing?" He looked down at his coffee cup, his lips pressed tight. No answer. That silence burned worse than words. Daniel stood, pointing a finger at her. "You're selfish, Maya. You push everyone away, and then you blame us for being alone. Maybe if you weren't so hard to love, things would be different." Maya felt her chest tighten, the words hitting old wounds that had never healed. She wanted to scream back, but something inside her deflated instead. She was tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of shouting into a void that never listened. When she left, her parents stood by Daniel, as if he were the only child they had ever wanted. She drove home in silence, tears blurring her vision. That night, Ava noticed. "Mom, are you okay?" she asked gently. Maya forced a smile. "I'm fine, baby. Just tired." But Ava wasn't fooled. She was watching, always watching, and Maya knew her daughter was growing more confused. She loved her mom, but she also loved her grandparents, and now she didn't know who to believe. The turning point came one evening when Ava stayed overnight at her grandparents' house without telling Maya. She thought she was keeping the peace, thought maybe everyone could just get along. But what she heard that night changed everything. She had been lying on the living room couch, half asleep, when voices drifted from the kitchen. "Honestly, Daniel," Linda whispered harshly, "your sister was always a problem, always making us look bad. We had to put all our hopes on you. She was never good enough." Daniel chuckled. "She still isn't. She's barely holding her life together. If it weren't for Ava, nobody would even notice her." Linda sighed. "Well, she chose her path. We did everything we could. She was just a disappointment." Ava lay frozen, her heart racing. They weren't just cruel to her mom. They had always been cruel. They had decided long ago who was worth loving and who wasn't. For the first time, Ava saw her mother's pain with her own eyes, not through arguments or accusations, but in raw, ugly truth. She didn't sleep that night. She waited until the morning, then quietly asked to go home. She didn't tell her grandparents why. She just carried the weight of what she had heard, her mind spinning, her chest heavy with anger and sadness. When Maya opened the door and saw her daughter standing there with tired eyes, she knew something had shifted. Ava stepped inside, dropped her bag, and said softly, "Mom, I heard them. I know what they said about you." Maya froze. She wanted to ask more, but the tears in her daughter's eyes told her everything. For the first time, Ava understood. This was no longer just Maya's fight. Maya knew the time had come. Ava's face after that night at her grandparents' house said it all. The innocence was gone. She had heard the truth for herself. Maya couldn't let the poison go on any longer. She told Ava to stay home with Sarah one Sunday afternoon, then drove to her parents' house. Her heart pounded the whole way. When she walked in, they were all there, Linda at the stove, Charles in his chair, Daniel leaning against the counter like he owned the place. It felt planned, like they were waiting for her. Maya didn't waste time. We need to talk, she said firmly. Linda looked up with a frown. What now, Maya? Haven't you caused enough drama? I'm done staying quiet, Maya said. Her voice shook at first, but she stood straighter. I grew up in this house being called lazy, ungrateful, and useless. Every mistake I made was blown up, while Daniel could do no wrong. You tore me down until I believed I was nothing, and now you're doing it to my daughter. That ends today. The room fell still. Linda slammed the spoon on the counter. How dare you accuse us? We did everything for you. We gave you food, a roof, clothes. You were ungrateful then, and you're ungrateful now. Maya's eyes burned. Food and a roof don't erase the years of cruelty. You didn't raise me, you broke me. And you will not break Ava. Daniel let out a laugh, smooth and mocking. There she goes again, playing the victim. You always twist things. Mom and Dad did their best. You're just bitter because your life didn't turn out the way you wanted. Enough, Daniel, Maya snapped. This isn't about me anymore. It's about my daughter. Linda folded her arms, glaring. She needs discipline. If you can't raise her properly, we will. No, Maya said firmly. You won't. Charles shifted in his chair, staring at the floor. Maya turned to him. Dad, do you remember one time, just one, when you defended me? Do you remember saying, she's a child, be kind? No, because you never did. You let her tear me apart, day after day. Your silence hurt just as much as her words. His lips trembled, but still he said nothing. Maya's chest shook with rage and grief. Do you see what you've done? Do you see what you're still doing? Ava heard you, Mom. She heard you calling me a disappointment, saying I was never enough. Do you know what that does to a child? For the first time, Linda faltered. Her eyes flickered, but then her chin rose again. She misunderstood. Children always twist things. She didn't twist anything. A new voice said, small but strong. Everyone turned. Ava stood in the doorway. She had followed Maya, unable to stay away. Her hands shook, but her voice was steady. I heard you, Grandma. You said mean things about Mom. And you were wrong. She's the best mom. She works hard every day, and she loves me. You don't get to make her feel small anymore. Maya's breath caught. Her daughter, her quiet Ava, was standing tall, defending her. Tears filled her eyes, but she stayed silent, letting Ava's words land. Linda's face reddened. Ava, you don't understand. No, Ava said louder. I do understand. You hurt her, and you tried to hurt me too. But I know the truth now. The room was thick with shock. Daniel tried to break the silence, smirking again. Sweet speech, kid. But let's be real. Mom and Dad are the only reason Maya hasn't fallen apart completely. They're the ones who've carried her all these years. Maya turned to him slowly. Carried me? Or carried you? His smile faltered. She pulled a folded paper from her bag and placed it on the table. Do you think I didn't know? Bank records don't lie, Daniel. Thousands of dollars from Mom and Dad's account, all going to you. Payments every month. While they tell me to work harder, to manage better, you've been draining them dry. Linda's eyes widened. What? Charles finally looked up. Daniel, is that true? Daniel sputtered, his charm cracking. They offered. I didn't ask. Don't lie, Maya cut in. You asked again and again. And they gave because you're the golden child. Because they always believed you were worth saving, and I wasn't. Linda's face went pale. She looked between Maya and Daniel, her lips parting but no words coming out. For once, Charles raised his voice. Is it true, son? Daniel's silence was answer enough. The truth filled the room like fire. All the years of favoritism, all the cruelty, all the silence, it was laid bare. Maya felt a strange calm wash over her. This is the family you built, she said quietly. One child you worshipped, one child you destroyed. And now you see who is really using you. Linda's mouth opened, but no defense came. Charles stared at Daniel like he was seeing him for the first time. Maya turned to Ava, who stood trembling but unbroken. She reached for her hand. Come on, baby. We're done here. As they walked out, Maya glanced back one last time. Her mother's face was cracked with shock, her father's with shame, and Daniel's with fury. For once, they weren't united against her. For once, the truth had broken through, and Maya knew she had finally shifted the weight of the past. The drive home after that day felt different. The air outside was heavy, but inside the car, Maya felt something break free inside her chest. Ava sat quietly, holding her hand, and for the first time in years, Maya didn't feel powerless. She felt like a mother who had finally stood up and won. When they pulled into their driveway, Ava looked at her and asked softly, Are we ever going back there? Maya shook her head. No, baby, we're not. Not unless they change, and I don't think they will. We don't need to be around people who make us feel small, even if they're family. Ava nodded slowly, her face calm but thoughtful. Good. I don't like how they talk to you. Or me. Maya pulled her into her arms. I promise you, Ava, I will never let anyone, not even them, make you feel less than you are. You are enough, exactly as you are. That night, after Ava was asleep, Maya called Sarah. Her best friend answered on the second ring. How did it go? She asked gently. Maya let out a shaky laugh. It was a mess. But I did it. I told them the truth. I didn't back down. Sarah's voice warmed. That's huge, Maya. I'm proud of you. Maya's throat tightened. I feel like I cut a cord I'd been tied to my whole life. But it hurts too. They'll never see me the way I wanted them to. That's because they can't, Sarah said softly. But you don't need their approval anymore. Look at Ava. She sees you. She knows who you are. That's what matters. Tears slid down Maya's face, but they were lighter than before. You're right. For the first time, I think I believe that. The next week, Maya made another hard decision. She called a therapist and booked an appointment for both herself and Ava. It wasn't easy to admit she needed help, but she wanted to heal, not just for herself, but for her daughter too. In their first session, Ava sat beside her, nervous but brave. The therapist asked gentle questions, and slowly, Ava opened up about how Grandma's words made her feel. Maya listened, holding her daughter's hand, and felt the weight of generations lifting. They were breaking the cycle, one word at a time. At home, things weren't suddenly perfect. Money was still tight, work was still exhausting, and sometimes old fears crept back in. But there was a new kind of peace between Maya and Ava. They laughed more. They shared stories. They talked about feelings instead of hiding them. One evening, as they cooked dinner together, Ava said, "Mom, you're stronger than you think." Maya smiled, brushing a tear from her cheek. "You think so?" "I know so," Ava said firmly. Maya leaned down and kissed her forehead. "Then I'll believe it too." For the first time in her life, Maya felt free, not because her past had disappeared, but because she was no longer chained to it. She had chosen peace, she had chosen herself, and most of all, she had chosen Ava. And that choice changed everything. Nou, het kan in de East. Hier wordt zo verwacht om verwerks. Zo van het nemach partner is. Ja, let's egger van. Ja, herstad zit. Neersleers de values niet kaster net vast hier vangeneits. Zo am het zetter en heel mij smet mas. Hier wordt zo'n show met het benet ilis neem thing het surfs net. See it's heavy. Reis net elkas. Ja, hard maar of semar melas. Maar om no word out de cap wil net zien. Vast reis net. Havereis, minen shit de laps naar verdien dis. Spaad in de ngars, snoebel in de ngars, sash der smro. Sef of zich zerd der stau. Ja, worf dat bewus dat I sam. Hier dat snowel surging de brunus. Neer lo wil sing is ook zaar. Slaam sevie. Der so wish Athena in de om wel. Herf sevie zich in I net beschen. Ja, Arthur. Have mer fapslar mer had nil mer fan. Of al ze wat is wel. Het blijft feeling outfish. Maar zerd der verdouw in de area. Is met van je mag ze wat. Snare no ervolver men of let's see dish. Serene muster. Style everything here in the skill. Sam is there with him or funner. Mom hammers dog. Mom, hurry up fast of silver. I hear them line. Watch you reach. He'll feel snilps out of it. So we sure you stand. He'll ash dry herring of thooms. Heard all your narrative held with us down. Night stand among its hair cover. Night now leader was of it. Night herring it held the middle. Lambs fast at the moves of it isn't it called wham. Even on face left at the Alkvinach. The Alks of Sahat, and at